Hey podcaster, I'm Tim Walbert, your podcast performance coach with another actionable tip so you can sound like a pro and gain more podcast fans. Today's tip is tap into emotion. A lot of podcasters ask me, Tim, how do you stay so good looking? Well, depending on who's asking, I might tell them my secret. Other podcasters want to know how to take their show to the next level. As you know, there are more than 50 ways to become a better podcaster through my advice in this Just the Tip podcast. But when they ask specifically on how to improve their interviewing skills, I fall back on one question to ask your guest to instantly change the tone of your podcast. The question is, how did that make you feel? Pretty simple, right? But how many times have you asked it? Asking this question opens your guest up to being more personable. It takes them out of any kind of cookie-cutter answer they may have waiting for you. It adds emotion to a possibly heartless conversation. Okay, maybe that's a little bit harsh. Look, this may not be right for all podcasts, and I'll talk about that in a second. But first, back to the feelings. Asking how someone feels about something also opens up the opportunity for stories. And who doesn't love a great story? When your guest tells a great story, it helps you as a host and your listener better relate to that person. You both might be listening and thinking, yeah, I was there, or I'm going through that right now, so I gotta find out how this ends. And you're probably thinking, damn it, Tim, I'm a podcaster, not a psychiatrist. Look, asking about feelings make your conversations more personal, more in-depth, and a lot more impactful. Now hold it. I can't say this enough. Be careful with this question. It can easily become very cliche. Use it sparingly. Pick your moments. If you use this question more than once in an episode, it's going to sound bad. Real bad. Oh, how'd that make you feel?
How did 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 that make you feel?
How did
How
that make
did
you
that
feel?
make you
How
feel?
did that make you feel?
You even have to be careful how these words come out of your mouth. You may want to think about a few different ways to ask it. Instead of, how did that make you feel? Maybe it's, what was the emotional impact of that on you? Or, how did you respond emotionally when that happened? Or, what is going on in your mind as this is happening? Or, did that scare you? These sorts of questions internalize an experience for your guest. In doing so, we all get a better understanding of what's going on and how your guest got to now. But it's not for all podcasts. Some podcasts are strictly about tactical advice and how to get things done. So it's not necessary. It may not be about the impact it had on someone. If you're doing a solo podcast, you can still use emotion. Inject feelings by telling your listener how you were affected by what you're sharing or the experience you had. Asking yourself the question, how did this make you feel, can add a different dimension to your show along with making you more relatable, like we talked about. So the next time you think your podcast is a little flat or lacking something, just add some feelings. And I hope that's just the tip you need.
Nothing more than feeling.
How are you feeling about your podcast these days? If your answer is lost, frustrated, angry, or confused, I can help. Hit me up for my free 15-minute session to talk about your podcast, and we'll get all your feelings out on the table. We'll take care of the bad ones, so all you're left with are the warm and fuzzies. Book your free 15 minutes at podcastperformancecoach.com. I'm Tim Walbert. See ya.